The agency was started in 1973 by my father, who was a VP of marketing for a large snack company in Kitchener-Waterloo, Jack Snacks. They were purchased by a U.S. company, and within a year, all of the senior executives were given a golden parachute. Now, you read about these golden parachutes now, everyone was given 1 month's salary as their severance pay, and then they moved all the administration to the States. Now, what's important about that is at 53 years old, my father had to start again. And my sister and I were both in university, and my mother needed to go back to work as a medical secretary, and she became known as cash flow, because for 2 years, really, my father was trying to build a client base for RM Quarry Advertising Agency Limited. You know, we worked out of the, or he worked out of the family home. Picture, if you will, our office, orange shag carpeting, brown wall paneling, laminate wall paneling, and our receptionist was our Labrador Retriever. So it was pretty small time, but in terms of head count and in terms of revenue, but it was big time in terms of spirit and you know, integrity, which really did stand us as the business grew. I joined Quarry in 1983. I had graduated with a degree in English and history. Did not get high enough grades to make it into teachers college, so therefore I went into marketing and worked at the head office of Canada Trust, now TD Canada Trust, as a marketing person. So I did that for 5 years, and I was promoted 4 times, and I was doing quite well. I also thought, well, there's got to be more to a career than just working for one company. So, to the surprise of everyone, my father and I decided to join forces, and to the surprise of everyone, because we really didn't get along all that well. It was that typical 70s, 80s kind of father-son thing. So there wasn't this strong family bond as such, but I just saw that he was ready to retire at 66, 67 years old, and I was ready to try something new. And so we came together. I was the 3rd person into the agency, and within 8 months we had moved out of the basement, out of the recreation room, into some office space, which was important but not key, and then we just started to grow. So that's kind of the history. And in that, my 2nd year, Glenn Drummond, who is a partner in the business and our chief innovation officer, Glenn joined, and I think the combination of Bob Quarry, myself, and Glenn being the younger guys really then did change the dynamic of the organization. And Bob retired in 1989, and that's when I bought his shares and became the president of the agency. Boy, I hope I don't hesitate too long on this, but I am. It's an excellent question. What is the one word that would sum up the culture at Quarry? I think team. I think it is so important for us as individuals, because we all are individuals, to be able to come together and help each other build meaning, to help each other build something that's important. Yes, we're all individuals. This isn't a cult. You know, that's an important distinction. But in terms of team, it's about, okay, everybody's got a skill or a talent. Let's combine those. Let's integrate those, and then treat everyone with respect. Aretha Franklin had it right, and she had it right most for our business. RESPECT. And make sure that everybody gets a chance to play. Make sure that everybody gets a chance to grow. And so we kind of use the basketball metaphor, because basketball is a sport that 1 second you're on offense, the next second you're on defense. 1 second you've got the ball, the next second somebody else has it. It's this fast-flowing life form, if you will, that I think is really important to our category. And I wish more agencies, I wish more people in our business treated it like basketball instead of baseball, where you have a set position, and that's what you play. You're a shortstop. Thank you for playing shortstop. You're going to play shortstop for the rest of your career. Or Mr. Football, which is, okay, this is the way we've drawn up the play, and this is how we've called it in the huddle, and this is what you do in order to make the play work. No, no, no. Don't do anything over there. Don't do anything over here. You have your particular cutout responsibilities on this play. Just do that, okay? And we'll all succeed. I don't think that model worked. I don't think it worked in the Mad Men days. I don't think it works today, and it certainly won't work tomorrow when people really want to be part of something. We have a vision statement, and the vision statement is to be the best integrated communications organization in the galaxy. It doesn't say biggest, it says best. And it says galaxy, not Ontario, not North America, not the world, because we figured that was too cliche, so we went intergalactic. And I think that's the key thing to remember for agencies, is to be the best you can be. Look at Chiat Day. Chiat Day started off as a very small agency in Los Angeles, which was not a hotbed for advertising. It was Chicago and it was New York. They weren't even in Los Angeles. They were up the coast in Venice, which is kind of a rundown, it still is, kind of a rundown little arts community. And they started there, and their first big account was Nissan. And the reason they got the Nissan account for North America was because they were the only ones that came to the table against all of these giant international competitors. And they came to the table and said, we know your customer. That's what we know about this business. We have a respect for your customer. We've listened to them. This is what they're telling us, and we're going to keep listening to them. That's why you should hire us for the Nissan business. And they did. They got the account. It was a revolution at the time. This couldn't have happened. All the big boys got beaten by, a surfer community ad agency. Then Chiat Day kept piling up these victories. And Lee Clow, who is like the creative deity, who I was fortunate enough to have a tour of their Frank Gehry designed space in Venice with Lee. But he once turned to Jay Chiat after they had all of these successes, and he said, Jay, how big do we have to get before we get bad? And I think that's the watch out in terms of, if you just keep piling on and you kind of start to compromise your original principles or your original vision, then you are going to become this cumbersome, bureaucratic nightmare called an ad agency. And hats off to Chiat Day, and hats off to Wieden and Kennedy, because they've resisted that by staying to their core, which is to create greatness, and not to create 20% bottom line profit every year. That's important, especially when you're bought out like Chiat Day was. But Wieden and Kennedy, they continue to build fabulous, creative material that builds brands. And I had the opportunity once to speak on the same program as Dan Wieden. And I asked him, Dan, what's the secret? We've got hundreds of people out there who want you to tell them how to be better at the advertising agency business. And Wieden, who's a very low-key, soft-spoken fellow, said, an ad agency is not a problem to be solved. Get used to the chaos. Get used to the ideas flying around that aren't legislated into certain activities. So I think what I learned from that was, let's build an organization. Let's help build with the people in the organization a place where ideas can fly and ideas can fall, but nobody gets burned at the stake. And this is where the larger shops that have very strong silos that have been built since the 50s and 60s and 70s, and they're still in existence, that's where they are going to find they're not going to be nimble enough. We've all read the magazine Fast Company. Yeah, Fast Company, it's important to be a fast company. It's absolutely critical to be a nimble company. The difference is that nimble companies land on their feet. They don't just move fast and then stumble. They move fast, land on their feet, and they're ready for the next challenge or for the next trick, if you will. So that's, you know, the Titanic saw the iceberg from the crow's nest 3/4 of a mile before they hit the iceberg. What was the problem? They couldn't turn the ship fast enough. It's going to be something wonderful, and it's going to be something that I think people can really grip onto. And our clients are going to be asking us for more and more imaginative ways to build relationships. So it really is a relationship business. And I'm not sure that a larger organization, there's a tipping point perhaps, where organizations just lose their humanity and lose their peopleness and just become a company. And I never wanted this organization to be a company.